Hi, my name's Catherine Nnamdi. I'm a corporate director in regulatory banking.
Hi, Catherine. Nice to meet you. Obviously, it's not the first time we've met. I think I've known you for over a decade, so this is going to be
That's right.
fun. So tell us, what is it that you do today?
So today I am a director in a leading European bank. I work in regulatory remediation and transformation programs.
For those people that don't know the word of finance,
Yep.
roughly high level, what do you do? What does that mean on a day-to-day basis?
High level, we keep the bank safe. So rather than from a compliance perspective, we deal with the mandate from the regulators and ensure that the bank is meeting them. So if there's any transformation needs, things that need to be upgraded, enhanced, changed, then we'll put programs in place to do that. Specifically, anything that needs remediating, meaning it's kind of fallen down or wasn't in place at all, then it's my responsibility to kind of stand up the program to put it in place and face off to the regulators to tell them that it's done.
Cool. So for those people that are not finance, an example would be 2008 crisis.
Yeah,
They tried to kill us, the banks, and then the regulators got on their case with Dodd-Frank,
correct.
EMIR
Correct.
1 and 2.
One and two.
1 and 2, and then
MIFID 1 and 2.
MIFID, that's the one, MIFID 1 and 2, and then also there's someone's name. What was the other one? There was one more regulation that came in place.
Volcker was another one as
Volcker
well.
rule. And all of those rules were basically to constrain and to make sure people had the right monitor in place, so essentially they didn't collapse our economy again.
Correct.
Brilliant. Great. So we're all on the same page. Awesome. Now, in terms of corporate ranking, you would be you're an MD or close to MD.
Director, so one step away from an MD. So in the corporate hierarchy, MD is at the top. Otherwise, you're at the management board.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Good, good, good. Right. So let's go right back. So where did it all begin? Where did you grow up?
Oh gosh, I grew up all over the UK, basically. I was born in Hendon, London, lived all over, lived in Newcastle, had a Geordie accent for a time.
So what age group is that?
So I was in
Age range,
Newcastle
sorry.
from the age of probably 5 to 8, and then came back to London, back to North West London, was there through the end of primary school and into secondary school. Secondary school was a grammar school in Finchley that I did until university.
Cool. So with education, obviously growing up in Newcastle, I'm assuming there may have not been many people that look like you.
No, so I was in a private school in Newcastle. I was the only black person in the junior school. My brother was the only black person in the senior school. And there was one mixed race person or person of
So
mixed
what
heritage.
was life like going to private? So you only ever did private school?
We've done a mixture. So I've
Right.
done private school, normal state school and grammar.
Right. And 5 to 8 was the private school?
Correct.
So what was that like culturally?
Yeah, I think it was a shock. I think, to be fair, I've typically grown up in places where there weren't so many black people. My parents owned businesses all over, mostly the north. And so there weren't many people that looked like me. I recall one of the days in my primary school, a young lady who was same age group as me licked my face and asked if my skin tasted like chocolate.
No way! I can't even say how I know it. That is horrible.
So yeah, and I won't say, how many years ago that was, but it was in a time where probably kids didn't have access to as many people that don't look like them, whether physically on a day-to-day basis or via the internet, right? So there was a lack of identity understanding with regards to people that didn't look like her.
And as a 8-year-old, how does that impact your identity of self? Do you feel less than? Do you feel weird?
So strangely, I was quite extroverted as a child, so I never really felt less than, but you were always acutely aware of the difference, right? It was very, very stereotypical. So as the only black person, I was meant to be this body popping, really amazing dancer, anything to do with street dance. They were like, hey, you. Now, my rhythm is okay at best. So I fell short of a lot of their ideals, let's put it that way, right? I wasn't the track star, but I was always pushed into sports. Oh, well, javelin, shot put, relay, you must be good at it because, your skin tells us so, right?
Wow.
So I had a variety that way, but I wouldn't say that I have a natural inclination for the things that people of our heritage are particularly pushed forward for. So,
And then you go to secondary school in London, but not
yes.
grammar, state.
Grammar, secondary
Oh,
school's
grammar.
grammar from age 11.
So now you're in Northwest London?
Correct.
North Wheezy. So culturally now you see more of your people.
Correct. But then I didn't fit in with my people because
Because you
I
had the
had
Geordie
been...
accent.
The Geordie accent left me. So apparently the story goes, I gained the accent within days of getting to Newcastle. I lost it within days of coming to London. So I learned how to be a chameleon. I think that's one of the things that I got from growing up in so many different places. So whilst I didn't have the accent, I was also thrust back into the majority of people looking like me, at least in my home environment and in the locality where I lived. However, in my secondary school, in my particular year group, it was a small grammar school. There are only 96 people in each year, of which there were only 3 black students in my whole year. So the year above, the year below, there were more. But so I was still fairly in an environment of mostly Caucasian heritage.
But you didn't have to be a body popping expert this time.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
So academically then, how was GCSEs?
GCSEs were good. A-levels, not so much. But GCSEs, all A's and B's, A stars, A's and B's, and that was,
You're confident, it's like, yep, I can do this, I can take on the world. Do you know what you want to do?
Yes, at the time, I wanted to be a medical doctor. I wanted to specialise in child psychology and psychiatrics.
Why?
Long story, but I've always been someone who's loved kids, and I think that's something that you know about me. And so when I was younger, I really wanted to, in particular, help children with Down syndrome, and it became a passion of mine from like the age of 10. And I started to research about it. And I wanted to then specialize in child psychology. I started looking at psychiatry and different routes into just helping children with particular needs. And it just grew from there, and it stayed with me, yeah.
So you go college in Northwest London?
Yeah, same sixth form to the grammar school. Yeah.
Cool. And A-levels, what do you study?
I studied geography, chemistry, biology, and then general studies, and maths at AS.
Because you wanted to be a doctor. And how did A-levels go?
They were not all A's. I think I got 1 A and then some unmentionable letters. I mean, unmentionable from a Nigerian culture perspective, right? They
don't exist.
They weren't bad, but they didn't exist. If it's below a B, we're not.
Right.
They will just, remain.
So then your choice of going to obviously the top medical schools.
Correct.
Medical universities deplete.
I got conditional offers, so all my offers vaporized as I opened that letter with my grades. So yeah, that was.
What was on the cards?
Oh, it was King's, and it was Imperial, and it was Queen Mary.
Wow.
Yeah.
But then confidence-wise, now you can't get in.
Completely battered. It was strange. So confident-wise, I was sort of like, okay, medicine is off the tables completely, because I think most universities wanted 3 A's, or an A at 2 and 2 B's was like your worst grades that they would accept. So I was really between a rock and a hard place. I hadn't considered anything else. It was medicine or nothing. And so I didn't know what I was going to do. My mum advised me to retake the year and then just go to medical school a year later. I didn't want to do that because I said to myself, but I haven't failed. I've actually passed with what would be considered as decent grades to many. But, Nigerian parents are slightly different. So what I did, I actually called my dad, and my dad said, look, it's entirely up to you. If you want to repeat the year, up to you. But again, you haven't failed. So there are universities that you can go to. So knowing that I didn't have the sort of backing and blessing of my mum, I got the newspapers and I started to go through all of the universities that were going through clearing. I didn't understand the clearing process because it's something I never considered I would have to use. But literally I called one university after another and said, this is what I want to study. It wasn't going to be medicine related, nothing even science related. I ended up looking at business degrees because before I left the school at the end of that day, I had my geography teacher who was also my head of form at the time, she said, you know, whilst you were here in sixth form, you were running committees and you were, you know, organizing fashion shows to raise money for the school. You were doing so many things that actually had such a business and kind of entrepreneurial flair about it, that actually that's probably where your inclination was leading you anyway. Wow. And so that's a really, I think, pivotal piece of advice I was given. And so that's what I started to look for.
Hold on. On the day when you got your results, she said that
Yeah.
to you, or he said that to you?
She said that, yeah.
Wow. So if she didn't say that to you, what was you going to do?
Probably repeat the year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's kind of a divine moment there.
Yeah, very much so.
Jeez. Okay. So then you decide to go to what university?
So I went to Kingston University.
Okay, cool.
At alma mater, yep. Went to Kingston University, studied international business, and loved the degree. It was absolutely the right choice for me. So yeah.
So at this stage then, you've now shifted from going to do medicine, going to deal with child psychology, and you have a single conversation on the day of when, you know, your world comes crashing down, and then this new path is now forged. It's like, I'm going to do a business thing. Yeah. Do you do straight university, or do you do placement years or sandwich?
I went straight university. I was 3 years get in, get out. I was also working at the same time as studying. So yeah, so I was full-time work, full-time study, and that was my path.
You self-funded through university?
I did self-fund through university.
Legend.
Forward thinking.